Thursday lunch 5-minute update on the national results. If you're watching, I'm a little late on this one, but hey, better late than never. Many of you watching this may have already heard the news. So we will cut right to the chase. The Brookbanks win nationals. They are 29-2 with a 238.4 average, 58 total quiz outs. That's the most of any team. And Ramsey's come in a close second with a 222.9 average, 55 quiz outs. Trinity won, taking a loss today that we'll talk about with a 27-4. They beat Naperville head-to-head, so they land in third place at the end with a 212-point average. Their average really popped up quite a lot at the end here of the tournament because they were under 200 going into the last part of yesterday and into today. So they had some incredible matches to close out. And then Naperville landing in fourth, 56 quiz outs, and 74 30-point questions, the most 30-point questions taken by any team this year at Nationals. Let's just see what that is. 31 divided by, or 70, where's Joey Bohannon when you need him? Divided by 31. Okay, so 2.4 30-pointers per round that Naperville took. 2.4. And I believe Sheldon took all of those. Sheldon took more than 230s every single round. That is incredible. So then we had right here, Deeper Church was ranked tied with Naperville at 4 losses at the beginning of the day. They take 2 losses and are tied with Utica, which beat them head-to-head. So Utica ends up in 5th. And Deeper Church, the Ponraj family, at 6th. So excellent job, everyone. San Jose had a really hot morning, beat 2 great teams, and landed in 7th. They did an incredible job as well. Looking at individuals, so I'm going to cover more of this in a little later tonight, but Sheldon pops into the 130-point average, which is one of the few people, like maybe 5 or less people, who have ever gotten a 130 and higher average at Nationals. Sheldon makes history, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. He finishes his year, because this is his senior year, I believe, with 5 150-point rounds in a row. 5 of them in a row. Incredible. Samuel Jabarish, with a 109.2 average. I think last year he was in 3rd place. So he pops up to 2nd place this year with an even higher average, 104 up to 109. Last Nationals last year, 78% accuracy, 28 30s. Now, of course, we had a few more rounds this time, but 80% accuracy, so a little more accurate, more 30s for sure, and just really excellent job. Only 10 points behind Rachel Brookbank with an incredible 108.9. So 109, just right there behind Samuel. And last year she was down here in 11th with an 81, more or less, point average. and 1730s. This year, she had an impressive, very impressive 51 30-point questions, 51. And if you notice here, the Brookbanks had 65 30s versus Naperville's 74. So they had the second most 30s, and some of the other Brookbanks took those 30s, Josiah and Hadassah, and possibly Caleb. Where's Caleb here? Caleb Brookbanks. Yes, Caleb, first year at Nationals, takes 2 30-point questions. That's great. So, looking at the rounds, we have... so I just want to highlight... the Brookbanks here have 2 losses at the end of the tournament. 3 years ago, they won first place. So this is a return victory. That also is a small window of teams that have ever won Nationals twice. And it may be even smaller teams that have won twice and not back-to-back using the same team. So that's pretty impressive. Ironically enough, okay, so the losses that the Brookbanks had were to the Ramseys. Ramseys can feel good about that. They ended up in second, but they beat the first place team. You know what I'm saying? And that's some good spin. And the other team that beat the Brookbanks is San Jose, which it is ironic because you can look here that 3 years ago, the only team that beat the Brookbanks when they lived down in Lee Summit, Missouri, was none other than San Jose. And they beat San Jose twice at the Bible Quiz TV tournament and twice at the regional competition. Just totally smoked them. And San Jose pulls out the win at Nationals. You can never be too cautious when it comes to playing rival teams now rival teams from the same region. So here are some of the matches. So here we have Utica taking a loss to San Jose. San Jose's first match of the day, they beat Utica in an upset, which is, it was an important match, a double quiz out by Hansel John and Samuel Jabarish, and a quiz out by Graham Hoffman, but a quiz out backwards by Christian Stevens. Next round, the immediate... one round later, San Jose, then second to last round, they play Trinity 1. And with Trinity 1, they beat Trinity 1 with another upset round. A 150 by Samuel Jabarish, and I think his round before that was a 140, so he creeps up. He goes 130, then 140, then 150. He's unstoppable in the morning, but then they turn around, they play Trinity 2, and the morning caught up with them. Samuel goes out backwards, but that doesn't lose him. It was close, but his 20 points secured his second place spot as an individual at Nationals this year. But Trinity 2 takes the win over. So Trinity 2 had a lot of really great upset matches this year, just like last year. I think they landed in 8th again this year, just like last year. So Trinity's second team is a force to be reckoned with, and that's becoming kind of the typical norm to be expected. Trinity puts out really incredible Bible quizzers. So then we have the Ramseys. Is that the... Yes, so then the Ramseys, the other rounds is Deeper Church took 2 losses. First to the Ramseys in round 28, 240 to 85. Cameron and Caitlin Ramsey both quiz out, and Elena and Simeon gets 3 wrong. The Ramseys have 0 wrong. So they had a really hot round against Deeper Church and Simeon and Elena. So then Deeper Church plays the Powell family, Ponrajas versus the Powells, that were duking it out for first place last year, with the addition of 2 other family members, Zach Ponraj and Shriana Powell. So they're duking it out here, and the Powells really just have an awesome game. Seamus quizzed out pretty early on in the game. I was checking quite frequently. And then Sheldon, another 150. So he closes his career, once again, 5 150s in a row. Now, one of them was to the Ghost team, but nevertheless, I'm still impressed, okay? Because 30-point questions at Nationals are hard. So even if no one is fighting you for them, they are still hard by themselves. So just so you know, another thing that's awesome here, the Brookbanks had 2 perfect games, okay, where they had 4 quiz outs, 4 quiz out forwards in round 9, 430, and then you go over to round 15, 425. So one of those was to the Ghost team, and you say, well, it's Ghost team, but no one else scored that much against the Ghost team. And round 15, you have a 425. So I'm assuming there was 1 foul, like a pre-response or a coach-initiated contest or something like that. And so 4 400-point games, and they had 7 games that broke the 300 mark, having the most rounds that broke 300 points in a single game. Their average was definitively higher than the other teams. So it's not always the case where the team with the highest average also wins the tournament, but in this case, it does. The team with the most quiz out forwards and the highest average wins national finals. They did a great job, and tonight, I will look over more details like Rookie of the Year, 10-point Quizzer of the Year, and some other fun facts that we will look into, like upcoming rookies from Junior Bible Quiz and graduating seniors. I might have to wait another day to collect all the data for that, but we have an exciting year next year that is on the docket, the T's and J's, as people call them. And the first year with the new translation, New Living Translation. Nobody's really a fan of the added 20 to 30% length per verse by word count of New Living Translation. But I do like that it is an easier reading level for the younger middle school aged kids that are learning to memorize. That is an advantage. We will see how next year goes. If you are thinking about writing questions, I would encourage you to do so. This year and many of the other years, we've had the last cycle of questions to reuse, but since the translation is pretty different, we can't really use last cycle's questions. And there's only one cycle of T's and J's. I think this is the second cycle ever for the T's and J's. So, if you're thinking about writing questions, please do so, because the teams are going to need all the questions they can get. All right, so God bless, have fun. We will update individual tournament, quoting bee, and other fun facts. Oh man, my 5-minute update went 15 minutes. Well, I hope you had fun.